Hi, gentlemen. I've talked about the importance of having boundaries. You know, the notion of this far but no further. The clarity of seeing the structure. There's a comfort in that, for me anyway. Similarly, I've talked about ethics, rules, and values that essentially become your own personal religion. The internal map you've created for yourself, so to speak. The internal, non-negotiable values and boundaries that you proudly stand up for. And I'd contend that our ethics and boundaries are a way of us asserting control over our lives, looking out for ourselves, so to speak. Sometimes we create enemies as a way of asserting control over our lives, gentlemen. That is, we create enemies to create boundaries. The typical ones are feminism, Marxism, politics, you name it. There's always some massive external conspiracy force. But if you don't start to see and exercise that internal locus of control, you're forever creating that external enemy and never actually facing the enemy within. Forever the enemy's out there. I'm not saying we need to give bad things out there a pass and bad people. I'm just saying sometimes we create or overinflate them, getting angry at some enemy so we can feel brave. And sure, there are villains, gentlemen, but if we use them as procrastinating piñatas, we're avoiding ourselves. So I would offer, try and practice a more internal perspective of control in your life. Because you can't self-actualize by constantly pointing outward for all your answers. Where all your answers basically come down to a map of pointing out enemies and landmines out in the world, external to you. Try and not continually need your enemies as a method of creating boundaries and values and things you stand up for. Perhaps try and see boundaries as not so much keeping things out as keeping you in and whole. Boundaries aren't anti-something as much as they're for you. Basically what I'm saying is take a positive stance, an internally positive stance rather than an externally defensive one. So in short, I'd say pay attention that you're not creating enemies externally simply as a means of asserting some sort of control in your life, as a method of asserting boundaries just defensively. Something to chew on anyway, gentlemen. I'll talk to you later.